All right, now we're getting live. Let's see what we can do to get everybody starting to come in, hopefully. Give me some water here. Oh, me. See if we can get some comments coming in. Are we live? Let's see. Let me check out this one. Check out the other screen. Okay. Hopefully we can get something going here this morning. Okay. All right, let's see if we can get online here. Okay. Are we on? Oh, okay, I've got. Oh, there we go. Hey, Greg. Hey, Greg. Hey, Josh. I was getting started here. Hey, Blake. How are you this morning? I was getting started here, and I got checking in and wanted to make sure everybody was catching me. Looked like it was a delay getting started for some reason or another. I hope everybody's having a good morning, and we're trying to get up here. We're actually in the shop this morning, trying to recuperate a little bit. Well, hey, Patrick, how are you? Let me get my camera adjusted a little bit. I hope the volume's good. I hope the picture's good for everybody. And I thought I would just come up to have a little bit different viewpoint than I did last week. I mean, I was over at the Napa store this morning. I'm up here at our shop, one of our shops. We got two of them. And this is the, oh, you were hiking this morning. Good gracious. I wish I could hike. Yeah, hey, excuse me. Y'all had to excuse me. Every once in a while, I get a little choked. My breath is still I'm still trying to get my breath back good, and I haven't got that back totally. So every once in a while, I'll have to. I get a little bit of choking. Yeah, yeah. AgTech. How's the weather up there in Canada? Down here in the lower 48, we're getting fall weather now. It's I opened the door here on the shop, and so I've got a good kind of a cool breeze coming in and everything. So I like that, and we're trying to kind of enjoy the fall weather. I like the fall weather. Uh, the fall of the year is the time. That's the time of the year my wife and I got married too. It's the time of the year I fell in love with my wife, and 3 or 4 years later married my wife. Uh, so it's sort of a good time for us. I like October and November. Uh, this the changing of the guard sort of from summer. I like to see the weather change. Hey Jamie, how are you? Going pretty good. Going pretty good. We're each week we're trying to improve our physical condition. I'm getting to where I can get around a little bit better. I can walk a little bit better as far as longevity of the walking. I mean it's sort of strange not Hey, Outcast. Oh, now that's Ricky, isn't it? Outcast Raw. That's Ricky. Or is that Chris? Chris, are you on Ricky's phone? Uh, but yeah, it's different to go from being able to do everything you wanted to do to getting cut back to doing what you're limited to be able to do. I mean, that's my situation. It's kind of tough because you're you're so used to go 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 go, and then all of a sudden you're slammed shut and you're confined. Oh, you got a vacation planned in November. That's good. I would imagine the vacations, if it's like everything else, you have to stay close to home. There's not much overseas travel with anybody now. I think everybody is sort of confined to their own area pretty much. I mean, of course, in the United States, we can travel all through the United States. There's certain areas I don't want to travel to. I'm not much for wanting to travel to California right now. Uh, but anywhere else, I mean, we're pretty well free to roam, I think. Uh, I mean, of course, we can go to California too. It's just California's got so many issues going on right now. I don't know if I would want to go there. It is Ricky. Okay, I thought maybe it was Ricky. I thought I had those right. Regular Outcast is Chris, and yeah. Hey Zach, how are you? Oh, you go on vacation every November. Okay, well that's good. That's good. Well, hey Bama Moores. Yeah, I'm trying to get back on track. I'm trying to get back where I can do some things. That's the whole nature of everything is to get back and enjoy life again. And so far so good. There's ups and downs with the recovery. I mean, some days you have good days, some days you won't, and your body's going to tell you that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, Zach, gosh, what time is it, Zach? Is it 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock at night in Australia? I think it is, isn't it? Or close to midnight. I mean, I think you're at least 12 hours away, or gosh, or is it more than that? Is it 20 hours away? I can't remember. Hey, comfortable man, how are you? Glad to see everybody jumping in here on this early Sunday morning. Yeah, we're getting them all over the world right now. I like having a worldwide group in here. We can converse, and we got them from the West Coast to the East Coast to the South to the North to Austria to Australia. Yeah, I hadn't seen. Let's see, we got. Oh gosh, what's the boy's name from Italy? We got one from Italy. He just popped in. Tim. Yeah, I was just thinking about you, Tim. Uh, yeah, not so early over there. It's what 3 or 4 o'clock over there. I guess depending on what time zone you're in. Yeah, Italy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we got Austria, we got Italy, we got Australia, we got Canada. Yeah, I have never been to Australia. I have actually I've only been out of the states one time, and I went to Mexico, and that's the only time I've ever been out of the United States in all of my years. I've never traveled, and now it's sort of, oh, you got a second truck ready to go. That's good. I jumped in an Australian truck at Freightliner, a brand new one. It was a cab over Freightliner. Of course, the steering wheel's on the right side, or in our case, the wrong side. The steering wheel was over on the right, and I don't know how Australia. I guess because of the British they took up the habits of the British, and they drive on the wrong side of the road, as we like to say, but they drive on the left and we drive on the right. Okay, your Central European time. Okay, that's good. So Central European time would be right now would be what, about 4 o'clock in the afternoon? Yeah, you have to come over here, Zach. I think it's different. If you've never been to the U.S., I love this part of the U.S. that I live in. I live in the Piedmont section of North Carolina, and it's we're on the edge of the mountains. We're not. I mean, you can see the mountain ranges from where I live, and it's nice. No, you're on the left. You're on the proper side. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you could come over here and deliver mail for everybody. Because all you had to do is roll down the window and stick it in there. You're driving like the mailmen do over here. The mailmen, a lot of the mailmen have the like Subarus and some Jeeps and a few other things, and even a U.S. mail truck has the steering wheel on the right, so the mailman can reach over out of his bag and deliver the mail to the right, because all the rural mail boxes are on the right. Yeah, yeah. Y'all guys will have to go for a trip. Yeah, my tripping days are probably going to be minuscule nowadays. I don't even foresee getting back in a tractor trailer truck and driving anymore either. Especially now that I'm diabetic and I'm taking insulin, so I'm actually going to be restricted from driving a tractor trailer until unless I can go on the pills. Right now I'm taking insulin by the needle, and that's not allowed with the DOT. But I haven't re-upped my DOT physical yet, so I'm good for another year. But when I do, I'm either going to have to be on the pills or something else. Yeah, but I'm setting up here in the shop today, as you can tell. This side over here, it's more of a parts room, and this side over here is the working room. That's one of the bays. I've got one truck over in that far left bay, and then this one we got empty right here. Yeah, y'all guys, I have to meet up sometime. I know it'd be interesting to meet people that you chat with. I've got a couple that I've met. I've got J.C. Smith came down. J.C. Chats with us a lot, and he came down here and bought a truck from me about 2 years ago, and yeah, it's awfully interesting to see, different philosophies, different viewpoints of things, and then meet up with somebody, and you can meet good friends like that. I feel like that I've gained a lot of good friends on YouTube, and I'm very fortunate that we can converse and have these early morning chats and everything. Oh yeah, I'm not in a hurry to get back to driving. Uh, I mean, I have put my time in driving. I have driven a tractor trailer truck since I was 17 years old. So that's about 53 years. So I think I think I've earned the right and the credit of knowing how to do it, and I think I'm still good at it. But as far as the day-to-day grind, I'm not interested in doing that at all. Uh, it's just it is a younger man's game, and it can tear your body down. I mean, it's over the years, but that's well, yeah. I guess I'll always have that mindset, Patrick, is to I'm always a driver, and I don't mind getting in a truck and checking them out and driving them down the road a piece and back. But as far as wanting to get in a truck and drive 500 miles, it's not my forte anymore. It's not what I desire. It used to be. I mean, when I first started, I mean, I'll tell you this. My first bit of driving a tractor trailer truck, I learned how to be what they call a yard switcher at Carolina Freight, and I loved it. I mean, I thought that was the best job I could possibly ever have, and it was a great job, and I did that for 10 years. And during that time, I was able to obtain my at that point we just called them chauffeur's license, and in about 1970, I got my chauffeur's license, and then I got checked out to be able to drive for Carolina Freight, the company I was working for, and they started letting me drive local. I went through the safety department. Back then, we didn't even have to have driving school. It wasn't a requirement, and so they knew I had the experience as a yard switcher. They knew I knew how to back trailers and everything else, and they did require me to. I had to mentor. I had to get with a local driver and let him mentor me and kind of show me the ropes out on the road. I did that for I think, gosh, I want to say, let me see. I think it was about 4 weeks or something like that. But then after that, and then I took my road test and everything. They let me. They put me out there on the road, and that's how I started way back in 1970, 71. Yeah, anytime you get out and start your own business, the one thing you don't want to be underfunded. I mean, I can tell you from past experiences, the first couple of businesses that I started really underfunded. I didn't have enough back in savings. So when I had any kind of bill or something to come up, it was a struggle. So you want to have enough savings to keep back so you don't put yourself in a struggle situation. Of course, now all businesses, I don't care how grandiose or whatever, you'll have very, very much a growing pain because you're in charge of everything. Once you start a business, you're in charge of everything. You're in charge of the light bill. You're in charge of the rent. You're in charge of employees. Hey, Ralph, how are you out of California there? You're in charge of every aspect that goes on. So, yeah, I mean, starting a business is, and I've started a couple. I will tell you that. My very first venture that I had was it was sort of electronics. I used to be good when I was a younger boy. I used to put in radios, and this is how far back it goes, 8-track tape players. I used to put in 8-track tape players and radios and things like that. So my very first venture was an opportunity. I had the opportunity. I took some money I had and started a record store and record and electronics store, and I did okay. Of course, I was really raw. I didn't do any due diligence. I didn't, I thought there was a need. I thought I could do good with it, but when you open up a retail store, it's an entirely different thing than just doing it on the side. Say out of your house or out of something like out of your garage. And I say that because a lot of good, successful businesses have started as a garage business. And I mean, Apple, uh, Hewlett Packard. I'm trying to think of some more. Well, even somewhat like Microsoft, Bill Gates and uh, Paul Allen, they started just on a whim too, and just by going to computer clubs and just a lot of different things like that. So some of your major corporations started like that. Well, even Facebook started uh, in a college dorm. So you don't have to uh, start off being the richest person around. You got to have an idea first. You got to have a good idea, and you got to feel like you got to do your due diligence, as they call it, to make sure that you run it back and forth among yourself. You say, is there a need for my service, or is there a need for what I'm trying to market? And if you run those things back and forth and back and forth, and you keep coming up, no, well, don't do that. Do something that there's a need for. Of course, you want to do something you have a passion for too. If you don't have a passion for it, don't do it. Well, and that's always, if you're gonna, of course, it's always best, I think, to start out fairly small. Start out where you're the employee. Either you've got a regular job and you do something on the side, and you see if that side business can do good enough to support at least you. If it won't support you, then that business is not strong enough to venture out even further. But that's what that's sort of my opinion. I mean, it's got to support you first. I mean, can you break away from your regular job? Will it support you and your family, or if you're just by yourself, will it support yourself and pay all your bills and everything else? But it's tough. It is a tough road to hoe. I can tell you that. I mean, when I started with FedEx, I started with one truck, one driver. Here's the driver right here. Uh, I was the chief driver. I was the chief mechanic for a while there, and then I was able to hire a mechanic to help me on the side. He did that on the side for a while, and then years later, as I got bigger, he came with me full time. Good morning, Doug. How are you? Yeah, you've got to take everything in stride. I mean, it's good to be able to get out there, have a business, and be able to grow the business, but it's also real scary when you can't control that business. I mean, if you let it get out of control and you let it, uh, there's a couple of different aspects. You can grow it so fast that you can't control it that way, or you can grow it in a manner that it won't sustain itself, and that's another thing. I mean, all these things are pitfalls. I mean, uh, now growing too fast, it sounds great, but it can also be detrimental, because if you overgrow too fast and you can't control your market, then you'll fail because of that reason. So it is a very balancing thing. I mean, that's like me when I was first getting started with FedEx. People say, "Well, buy more trucks, buy more trucks, buy more trucks." Well, that's fine and dandy if you can buy the more trucks, you can get more routes. But then if there's anything a slowdown or anything like that, then you're responsible for paying for all those trucks. I mean, you've been out here, you've heard the horror stories of people that have overextended themselves, bought too many trucks, bought too many, uh, whatever they're doing, and then the first little uh, setback, and there will be setbacks, then that person is scrambling to pay his bills. I mean, some of them live high on the hog, and then when something cuts back, then they all obligated right at that point to go, oh my gosh, I can't pay for my bills. What am I going to sell? Am I going to sell this truck? Am I going to sell this toolbox? Am I going to sell? What am I going to do? And so that's the generalization of what you get into sometimes, because I mean that's like this shop. I mean, you can't see it right here, but I've got it full of parts. I've got it. Let me see if I'm going to turn the camera. You'll see stuff hanging from the ceiling there. That's air conditioning lines, brake lines, and everything. That's what we have over there. But this shop is, and around the corner, I've got another whole wall that's full of parts. And right over here on this wall, I've got bearings and like wheel bearings. We got seals. We got brake shoes. We got brake chambers. There's all kind of different things. But these parts are paid for. There's not a dime owed on any of this. This shop here is self-sufficient, and it takes a while to get to that point. And of course, it's like everything else. When I need something, though, sometimes, I mean, as many parts as I have in here, and I also own a parts store, I'll always seem to need the part that I don't have. But the general consensus on this is once as we're talking about starting a business, is learn to manage your money, and don't think that every piece of silver or every dollar that comes in, or I don't know the other currencies. What's the other currency in Austria, Patrick? Whatever currency that you have, or mainly don't overspend what's coming in. I mean, I see so many that as soon as they make a little money, they're buying that brand new car, or that brand new pickup, buying that fancy toolbox. They're buying items that are not necessary to make the business functional. It might be functional. It might be an item that you want, but get the items that are functional first, not the items that are luxury first. And don't always try to buy the latest and greatest. You may have to buy a used item. You may have to buy a secondary item. I mean, you get on here and you hear all these people that are critics of tools, critics of toolboxes. They're critics of different aspects. Don't belittle anybody that attempts to come up with a proper tool or anything. I mean, if all you can afford is a Harbor Freight tool, well, then buy Harbor Freight tools. Is that the suggested or the best? No, it's not. Snap-on and Mac and some of the others do make a lot better tools. But at the same token, don't go out and spend for a $30,000 toolbox when a toolbox is just a filing cabinet. That toolbox has no functionality other than being a filing cabinet. It won't fix anything on a truck. It won't make you a better mechanic. And don't get into that don't go down that rabbit hole where you overspend in that aspect just to look like you're a better mechanic or look like you have a better shop. I mean, I see that so apparent for so many people. Now, as you're growing, I would suggest getting the better equipment that you can afford, but don't overspend. In other words, buy what's in your budget. I mean, if you can spend $100 a week on tools, spend that. Budget yourself to spend $100 a week, but don't go out and be coerced and just to going in debt So and some people, well, that's just my Mac bill or that's just my Snap-on bill. That's a debt. And that's a debt that's going to be held over you. And unfortunately, here's the other aspect of it. Those look at the percentage rate those companies get. Snap-on Tools, Snap-on Financial, if you go look at the stock market, makes more on their financing of tools than they do the tools. And that's the whole gimmick behind this. And a lot of people don't realize that. You're not doing a favor to Snap-on corporate when you just buy the tool. I mean, you're buying their tool, and of course they're selling tools. But if you finance that tool through Snap-on corporate, they've sold it to you once, and they're going to sell it to you twice or three times if you finance it, because that $200 set of sockets, by the time you get them paid for at 18%, and you stretch it out over so many years, it's going to cost you $400. And you need to think of those things. Yeah, I mean, I agree, Doug. I mean, there so many people. I mean, will you see a Harbor Freight tool in this shop? Sure, I've got them. Will you see Mac tools? Sure, I have them too. Snap-on. I got every tool you can think of. I'm a tool junkie, and I like having different ones. And sometimes it's good to have a Harbor Freight tool, because if you got a situation that you go, well, I need to put this 9/16 wrench in here, and I'm probably going to break whatever I put in there. Well, you can break a Harbor Freight and not feel that bad about it, but you'd feel like crap if you broke a Snap-on, even though you can get it replaced probably. But if you're going to put a 4-foot pipe wrench on a 9/16 wrench, and that it's probably going to snap whatever wrench or screw up the head on it or whatever, you would much rather do it on a cheaper tool. That's my opinion. Yeah, and like the Godor and and the different German tools. I mean, I think it's great to be able to get quality, and but getting back to this, I mean, this is where when you're building a business, you can't just like I said, you can't spend too much on your personal luxury. That's what and some of this is personal luxury when you look at a Snap-on toolbox. Now, I mean, I have 2 Snap-on toolboxes. I bought both of them used. I bought them with a lot of tools and everything. I bought one at an auction and bought one at a friend of mine that was going out of business. He sold me. He gave me a good deal on all of his tools. I bought out his complete. He was a diesel mechanic, and I bought everything he had, and I paid him a pretty good price. I was able to buy, like I said, the toolbox itself would be, I have no idea. It'd probably be a $4,000 toolbox, $3,000 or $4,000 toolbox, I suppose. But I bought it and all of his Snap-on tools, his Mac tools, and every additional tool. I bought. It was a trailer load of tools that I bought from him. But he was retiring. He was getting away from. I mean, I bought everything down to a hammers and saws from him too. But he wanted completely out, and he wanted to be completely rid of all of his mechanical tools, and I bought them. And I don't regret it because I got a lot of good tools out of that. Well, hey, son, I'm glad my son jumped in here. Of course, those of you that Steve Jones is my son. He's the one I've interviewed on past broadcasts and everything. He lives across town from me, and he's my pride, one of my pride and joys. I've got a couple. I got him, my grandson, and of course my daughter-in-law and my daughter and my wife. I've got a great family and that sort of stuff. But my son, I don't know how long he's been listening, but he'll tell you that we have tried a lot of different businesses. My son and I years ago started an internet business. My son's an electrical engineer, and he and I, and along with my wife and daughter, we started a internet business, and I was able to work off of his knowledge. Sorry about that. I got a compressor kicking in. Um, hey, Ron, how are you? Going pretty good. Going pretty good. Well, I'm doing pretty good, Steve. Uh, Doing pretty good. I'm feeling good. I'm up here at the shop and trying to trying to put out a good broadcast this morning if I can. Hmm. Well, sometimes they do, Ag Tech. I see what you're saying, and I've gone to sales, and sometimes you can get a bargain, and sometimes you can't. Sometimes you'll overpay. I've seen guys overpay for tools at auctions. Uh, it really depends on the auction. Uh, you know, uh, I've seen it go all different ways, and so you never know. You really never know. And I'm gonna try to see if well, I can't get that one up there. I was trying to get something else on the other computer, but well, there goes the compressor. But y'all see, I'm in a working shop because that compressor kicks on every. I got a small air leak over there on the. I got a container that holds. I get oil. I get Rotella oil in bulk, and I've got a container over. I got a 500 gallon, I believe 500, 400 gallon something container, so I can get everything. Well, hey Kevin, how are you? Glad to see you jump in here. Yeah. Now did Phil get in here too? I got Patrick. I didn't know if Phil. Heavy wrench. I didn't see heavy wrench yet. Yeah, you got to do some comfortable man's got to do some maintenance on. Yeah, maintenance is always it's something that's 24/7. It seems like for us. Yeah, well, and that's what you'll get sometimes, Walter. Was it Walter? No, it was AgTech talking about a sale. I've been at some of the sales, and you really have to know your pricing. You have you have to know your pricing on these tools. If you go at it and just say, "Well, I'd like to have that," I wonder how much it is. If you haven't researched it, if you can't, usually on these auctions, I usually go around here. They have a preview day, and you actually go look at the condition of something, and you look at what it is, and then that way you can just go back and research it and see what the value of it is, and see if you know. I always kind of say, well, I'll go maybe if it's a real good tool and looks in good condition, I'll go, try to go 70% of whatever the retail value would be or the wholesale value, and that's kind of where I'll cut it off on. And I go to sales. I went one the other day, and well, it's been a couple months. It's before my heart attack, and they had it like a welder, and that welder went as much as a brand new welder. Well, I'm sorry, I'm just not going to pay that much for a used welder. I'm going to wait and get a good welder. A new one's got a warranty if I'm going to do that. Oh, you run Rotella, and you, huh? Okay, I didn't know that. Yeah, I run Rotella. Was a 10W40, and I run that in all my trucks. Yeah, well, you've got to be able to justify. Just because you see it in an auction, unless it's a rare piece that you can't get again, that would be the only reason pay too much. Now, have I ever paid too much on things? Sure. But usually what I try to do is to buy, when sometimes they'll group things together, and you'll get a toolbox and a bunch of tools, and you got to go through that and kind of calculate, well, if I pay X amount of dollars, will I come out on it? And a lot of times you'll get maybe not complete. I'm gonna have to take a drink of water. Drinking vitamin water, guys. Not this is water, but it's got a little taste to it. But yeah, and that's what, like Kevin was saying, you'll get people. There is heavy wrench. Okay, great. Glad to see you in here, Phil. I wasn't able to be on your channel last night. I got tied up and got asked to be on another channel last night. So I had Red Viking Trucking that called me and asked me to be on his channel. So I did that instead of getting. So I'm sorry I wasn't on there, Phil. I don't know what you got to talk about. I would imagine another good, interesting show, but I was tied up on another one. But you've got to look at these things, and like I say, you'll get at auctions, and you'll have people that will bid it. They'll bid against each other, and you go, why are they doing that? Why are they running it up? And sometimes I've done that just for the fun of it, and say, I'm going to run this up a little bit. If this guy is going to be so cocky about it, I said, I'm going to run him up, and I'll run him up, and then I'll jump out as quick as when I feel like, well, he'll go one more, but I better not go that next one because he might leave me hanging. So I've done that and say, well, just for the fun of it, I'm gonna get out now, and I'm gonna go, hey, you can have it, and let them bask in their glory, or go, oh crap, I paid too much for it. So it's sort of it's sort of a fun thing at that point, and sometimes I've done that. Of course, sometimes I've been the guy that's got hung with stuff too, and I go, oh crap, I paid too much for this, by doing that very same thing. I've been on both ends of the spectrum sometimes. Well, it's sort of like the old saying, advice like that. It's free, so you can cash in. If I give you free advice, don't try to sue me for giving you free advice. I'm giving you experienced advice. I've done these things firsthand, so you can take it with a grain of salt, or you can experiment on your own. And the younger you are, the more radical. A lot of times, the more you'll listen to things, and you'll say, they don't know what they're talking about. And then you'll try it and maybe do the wrong thing. And then after you try it, you go, crap, they did know what they were talking about. I've done that myself. I've been the rebel or radical or whatever on the other end. Go, nah, that old man doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, yeah, that old man did know what he was talking about. Maybe I shouldn't have tried that. And that's sometimes it's good to listen to advisors. Oh, I might straighten up a little bit. I'm getting I've been setting so much for the past 6 weeks. I'm about to get blisters on my posterior. Yeah, it's just yeah, it is, Phil. It's I'm sort of that way too. I mean, you think about your parents being, well, they're not that smart. They didn't do this, blah, blah, blah. I'm a college graduate. I've gone to this and I've done this. And then you get to realizing, dang, my parents are a lot smarter than I thought they were. And it's the old word, like I always like to kind of quote Darrell Waltrip from NASCAR, and he said it's called experience. He as a NASCAR driver would tell these guys, here's the reason I did this or did that, because it's experience. he'd kind of southernize it, and but it is experience is a big teacher, and you can't teach experience. You just have to listen to somebody that actually had that experience, and here's what they did, and here's the outcome. Uh, so you know, you take into account that with all businesses, and you you can either listen to someone and let them mentor you a little bit, or you can just go out on your own and try your own thing. Not to say that the older person has got every answer, but I think as a general rule, they can give you a broad view of what you may encounter, and that you know that will have a strong bearing on how you can run a business. So I would say, study the people that can help you and mentor you in a business, and not take the guy that's been in business 4 years, 3 years. Um, they're usually the cockier ones, because uh, some of them are get immediate gratification, and out of that immediate gratification, they'll make some foolish mistakes. I mean, you get out there and you start making some quick money, and the first thing that some of them want to do is to spend that money, not on the business, but on their self. They go out and get a boat. How many guys have you seen go into business, and the first thing they do, they go out there and they get them a boat, or they go out and get them a motorcycle, or they go out and get them, just something that has no relationship to the business that they're in, and they uh, they take that, and with the least amount of experience that they have, like I said, maybe they're in business 3, 4, 5 years, they made a little money, and instead of reinvesting into the company, they reinvest into their luxury. And then if they get a setback within the business, and I'm taking this as a general thing, and not anything in particular. It could be retail, it could be construction, it could be trucking, it could be all kinds of different things. Plumbing. I mean, I've had some friends that I know that went in and had a plumbing business, and were doing gangbusters and doing all kind of great things. But as they chipped away at it, they got worse and worse on the management of their money, because you would see them with fancier cars, or fancier four-wheelers, or boats, or motorcycles, and all these sort of things, and then the next thing you know, their business goes down. So all aspects, I mean, just across the board, uh, I, you don't. I'm not going to try to run down mechanics, or truck owners, or anything else. That is the area that I feel like I have some expertise in, but and you can use this across the board to uh, as a generalization about business, because I can tell you my failures, and I've had several. I've had several businesses. I've had some that were mediocre, but I've had some that were bad failures too. And you have to uh, take all that into account. So my my experience has not always been rosy. I mean, I know firsthand that what I've done wrong in the past, and that's what I try to convey when I'm talking like this. So I hope I'm saying things that people want to hear. I hope I'm divulging information that uh, will help a business person. And like I said, don't always go out there and the main thing, like I said, I guess if I was to put points of interest out there, like I said, don't get into something too far undercapitalized. In other words, you can't start every business on just a wing and a prayer. You can't have $200 in the bank and think you can start a business. You can try it, but you'll probably fail. Uh, don't. Of course, let me preface this a little bit, but don't give up on your idea. If $200 is all you've got and you feel like you can sacrifice that, then go ahead and sacrifice it. It's an experiment at that point. But you have to put so much work equity into your own business. It often behooves me, I guess you might say, to see people hire every single thing out when they don't. They want to sit back and just write checks. Well, that's fine and dandy if there's an abundant amount of money coming in, but so many times, and I can show you in the past, my wife and I have done sweat equity. In other words, we've actually, on our off hours, would get over and do painting. We'd go out and do carpentry work. We'd go out and do construction of some description, something that is more that you can get a value added to your business. And so that's sort of what it takes. In other words, you're going to go from, if you're going to start a business, you're going to probably go from a 8-hour day to a 16-hour day. And then you're going to sleep and then jump right back at it and do it again. And if you don't feel the urge and the need and the want and desire to do that, then you won't be as successful. I mean, there's some people that seems like it fell off of a ship and they hit it lucky. Of course, you don't always understand what the other person does, but the people that I have seen be the most successful are the ones that put a lot of sweat equity into their own business, and they're doing, they're out there sweeping the floor while, other people are doing other things. So, the behind the scenes is what you see. I mean, I've got a great friend that's in the restaurant business, and people look at me, oh man, you got it made. You're open from 8 o'clock in the morning to 7 or 8 o'clock in the afternoon. Then you got all that money, and they don't realize what he does. He comes in at 5 o'clock in the morning to open up something that's going to be there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then he's there at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, getting prepared for the next day. Then he sleeps 7 or 8 hours if he gets that, and then he's back at it again. So, people that have never been in business, hey, NC Trucker, well, I appreciate that. I don't know how good I look. I'm hoping I'm looking healthier, but it's a tough road to hoe out here to get this thing straightened out, and I hope I'm doing it. I hope I'm getting better every single day. Well, guys, I'm about to talk myself out. I hope I've been somewhat interesting this morning. I've been on here about 55 minutes, or 53, and I'm gonna call it a day because I'm a little bit. I don't want to wind myself too much as far as air, because my lung capacity is a little more limited than it used to be. So I'm going to call it a day. I appreciate everybody that gets out here. I hope the content today was interesting to some people, and hopefully you'll catch me on another day. I'll try to be out here next Sunday for sure. Maybe sometime during the week this week too, or some night or something like that. So y'all take care. Y'all have a good rest of the Sunday, and I guess for some almost Monday over in Australia. So y'all take care, and I'll catch you later.